right, welcome, guys. I'm so excited because I have the career success expert herself. That's just one thing that she does. But I'm talking about none other than Miss Dee Davis. She's a very good friend, amazing business owner. But like I said, she is an expert in the career services industry success in her own right. So welcome, Dee, to this segment.
Hello, and thank you for the invite. I'm honored to be here. Extremely honored.
Yes, and I'm glad you could squeeze me into your schedule because we're going to talk about all the amazing things you're doing and the services and how you're supporting people, especially right now. Of course, you know all too well, Dee, that we're in a pandemic. It's a crisis for a lot of people. And you know what? Not only do we have the unemployment issue that I know you're aware of, but I was even talking to some college students that were counting on that work study, being able to work on campus, and they can't.
Correct.
Because of COVID-19 restrictions and things like that. So kind of talk about, what has this pandemic done to for companies and their employees, corporations? What's going on?
Well, when it comes to the pandemic, the thing about it is it has been a tumultuous time for all over the country, all over the world, for the workforce as a whole. However, I will say this, there are still companies, some people are still hiring. Some people are still creating opportunities. Some people they've had to shift and, pivot on how they carry out their day-to-day operations. But there are some people and some companies that are still hiring, and they're getting back into the mode of replacing or refilling certain positions, creating new positions, because if the company dynamics have to shift, then that means that their business model has to shift. So when the business model shifts, the type of employee or the skilled employee has to shift. So while there has been a lot of layoffs, a lot of closings, there have been some opportunities that have been out there. It's just the thing about it is so many more people are actually vying for the same opportunities. And now it's just trying to find ways to where you can level up on your own skills to set yourself apart, to make yourself more marketable and more valuable, especially being able to have various skills. That's huge because if you, for example, in the clerical world, they may be very good at answering phones, as far as being a receptionist, but this person now needs to know a little bit more, maybe about Microsoft Works, maybe need to know a little bit more about some computer situations. They may be, something like more of an office manager roles. So they need to know a little bit more than just, hello, thank you for calling, write a message, send a quick email, to the boss. They have to know more to be more marketable.
You know what? You just said so much in such a little time, such a wealth of knowledge. For those that are watching and listening, Dee, what you said, it just stood out to me, is that they have to focus on making sure that they're marketable. Even though they may not be a business owner, but they almost have to think like one, right?
Exactly, because you are your own business. You are your own brand.
I love it.
When you go somewhere, you represent you, and that's because, and we're visual people by nature. So when you present yourself, that's the first thing people see. So they see you first, and then they hear you second. So it's like, okay, that person looks like they're packaged and presented well. But then, so now that makes me think, take a second to listen, to see, what's up here. See if those two things line up. If what I see and what I hear line up, that's what a lot of companies are looking for, because, let's be honest, you can make your mouth say anything.
That's true.
But at the same time, what is up here, does it align with what comes out here? And that's where people are losing those opportunities, because they're not prepping themselves for growth. The world is shifting. We're more technology based because we have to, so that those days of, I don't do much with computers and I don't know about getting online, we no longer have unsmartphones. Everything is smart. Everything talks to you. Everything, tells you what to do. Those days are, there, and then people are retiring. A lot of people, because of that shift, If they
Yes.
have the opportunity to retire, they're hitting the door. But what does that do? When those spots are empty and companies are not doing away with those spots, they're
Mm-hmm.
opening up for other people. So
Mm.
now it's like that shit, those spots still have to be filled. So and that's where I come in at as a career coach. When it comes to preparing people for pretty much basically preparing you with the skills to pay the bill. So let's learn how to interview, how to interview well. Let's learn how some job success tips. Let's learn how to communicate better, how to present yourself better, how to present yourself in a way where when you walk away, they say that's who we've been missing. So that's what I do.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And that's what we need. And I didn't even think about that till you said it. There are a lot of people that have retired. And like you said, those
Mm-hmm.
positions, they're not always being filled just because of what's going on.
Correct. They're not. They're left vacant. And what
Mm-hmm.
happens is that's where companies are doing double duty or dual roles, where you have some individuals where you may have had, let's say, a workforce specialist, and then you may have had an office assistant in that particular office. Okay, well, that specialist now has to do that job of what that office clerk may have done, which was just may have been the face when a person walked into the office. So
Mm-hmm.
now, what does that do to that position? Now, one person is out of a job, but someone else is doing double duty. However, they still have a job.
Yes.
So so you have to look at that. And when you're in those days are gone, well, I'm just going to, do what I do and stay right here, just answer my little phone, mind my little business. Okay, well, you mind your business, unemployed, because you don't
Right.
want to find ways to cultivate, yourself and change. So, again, that's where, as a career coach, that's just where I come in at in the workforce. It's exhilarating. I love to see when someone see themselves elevated. They've learned a new skill. They've learned something that, again, help them a skill to pay the bill. So
Yes.
I love it.
And and I feel like, especially in this time, and again, for those watching and listening, you need someone like Dee, and we're going to get into her services in just a minute,
Mm-hmm.
because you need someone, first of all, that she has the passion. And this is not just for this interview. Ever since I've known Dee, she has
Oh,
been passionate. But also she's, working in higher education. She's come across, these different situations and has been able to advise students and, of course, also adults in her business as well. So you need somebody who's keeping up with what's going on, and then they can help you to come up with a strategy, that works for you. Because I'm sure, Dee, what works for one of your clients may not work for another one. So it's all
absolutely.
about, yes, it's all
Absolutely.
about customizing.
Definitely. Everybody's different. Everyone's needs are different. So
Mm-hmm.
when you mentioned about the being in higher education in the academic sector, if you visit your advisor, every student is assigned an advisor, which in high school that was pretty much your counselor, the student counselor. So now as your advisor, they cannot just mold a one size fit all plan. They have to strategize and figure out what is this particular student's need. Just because you have 4 students, for example, going into the same degree field, all 4 of those students may have a separate need. One student may have a learning disability. One
Mm-hmm.
student may be, they may be wonderful in the area of math. So that person, you might can get them and put them maybe in the math lab to assist other students, which there goes the opportunity for work study. So then you may have, another student that is visually impaired. So they need other assistive devices. But these students are all in the same program. So
Yes.
so everything has to be tailored for their success, because if you put a one size fit all in there, more than likely out of those 1 to 4, you're kind of setting up 3 out of the 4 for failure, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not molding or catering to their specific needs. Which is the same way in career prep. Like you said, I can't take the same approach with everyone. I can offer you may see the same service, but that service is tailored specifically for you to meet, your needs.
Absolutely. And since we're
Mhm.
talking about students, I have to throw this question in there. So,
Okay.
for a student or family that's watching,
Mhm.
and so really it's a two-part question. One, because I feel like career services is one of the most, it's one of the more, I say, neglected office from a student perspective because they don't think about you guys till graduation. So, when
True.
should they come and see you? And then the second part of the question is, what are you seeing are the bigger issues with students right now in terms of coming to your office, career services?
Okay. They should make visiting career services priority in the beginning,
Yes.
because the reason why it should be just as important as you visiting the academic advisor, as you going to make sure that you have your financial aid in order. It should be just as important. It should be on that checklist of my, must do, must have, must visit, not optional or additional when I get to. And the reason why it should be that important is because you don't know what you have access to
Mm-hmm.
until you visit. Okay, so we can come out and I can come out and share with you and talk with you, or you may see me at a career fair or something like that. But if other than that, do you really know what you have access to? Because this same student that is, we may have opportunities that we can share with them. We have opportunities for additional scholarships. There are scholarships that come through career prep area, so they may not even know that. And someone may think, oh, well, if it's just what if it's $100? Okay, well, that's not a lie. Yes, it is.
Yes,
Because
it
that
is.
$100, if you are a student, if you have a car, that $100 could be 3 tanks of gas. You know,
Yes.
that $100 could be groceries. So
Mm-hmm.
you never know, but career prep needs to be a priority, just as important as financial aid and your academic advisor. Know who your career counselor um, actually is on the campus. If there's not one that is assigned to you specifically, find out. Make it your business to figure out to go and visit that office. And because, let me tell you a little nugget, because it's not generally made to be priority, the
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that or things that they may have access to, you have the chance of knowing more of, because it's not
Yes.
so spread out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of the few that come in, you may have access to way more things that the average student, they don't even know. And then when you come out all leveled up and you got your extra $100, and you got these other opportunities, maybe at a certain company where you can go and shadow and visit and possibly get an internship or apprenticeship, and then your classmates or friends are like, where'd you find that out? How did
That.
you? I didn't even know that office was over there. I didn't even know they did that. So but and then to answer your second question, you said what is the biggest that I'm seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Really the polishing of knowing how to enter, knowing how to present yourself, knowing and understanding the importance of it, how to package yourself, how to be true to you, to who you are, but at the same time, know how to be a chameleon for the environment that you're in. You don't have, if you're free spirited, if you're a natural sister, if you're the person that loves, your energy and sage, all these things, that may be wonderful. Or if you're that person that loves trap music, hey, you can be you. However, depending on the environment that you enter, you have to learn how to shift. The shift is the hardest part for a lot of the people that I
Mm-hmm.
that I encounter, because they define the shift as changing, for who they changing themselves, and I want to be me, be you. But if shifting gets you more opportunities, shifting gets you more money, then
Yeah.
I'm all for the shift. Let me shift
Okay.
because I'm all for the shifting, because shifting is, it's not asking me to change who I am. It's not asking
Yeah.
me to do something unethical. I'm not being asked to do something that can hurt me. I'm asking me to do something, or expected to do something that can help me along the way. Um, so that's the biggest challenge that I see them, not knowing how to shift or
Mm-hmm.
understanding what the professional or cultural shift actually is.
Yes, and you know what? I love that because I can hear it now. Some like soon to be college graduates. They're like, well, it's me, and the employer's just gonna have to take me at face value. And I'm like, you can't determine that. You don't
Yes,
write the checks.
yes. And I'm like, and I'm usually sitting there like this,
Yes, cringing.
like
Like
you
what?
have got to be kidding me. Like, is this serious right now? Like
In a
listen, how
pandemic?
would you tell them? Like I've even recorded them. This is the funny thing. I've even recorded them sometimes, and I've played it back to let them like, do you hear
You
yourself?
hear yourself?
Like because this is what the employers hear, and
Yeah.
I call it from the other side of the table. I said,
Mm-hmm.
because when you come into an interview, you're on one side and whoever is interviewing you on the other side. But what they don't understand is what happens from the other side of the table. So because you don't
Mm-hmm.
know that mindset, they're trained to not let you in or understand. Maybe sometimes if they're kind of not liking you, especially if it's a negative thing, they're
Yeah.
trained to not or to not give that energy or to not give off anything that could put them in a liable situation. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't know maybe what they're thinking. They have the game face on because again, they're trained to do that. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, so with that, you just have to be your best self. And then also, you never know, maybe if that opportunity isn't the one that they choose you for, you can plant the seed for another one. Or maybe they'll come back to you. Or the follow-up. There's beauty in follow-up. Giving yourself the opportunity to follow back up with that company and maybe ask them why they didn't hire you.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's
yeah, ask them why. And the reason why you want to know that, because it may have been something very simple that you can change and shift
mm-hmm.
for the next interview. It could have been eye contact. It could have been your energy. It could have been your communication skills. It could have been this one here is a game killer. It could have been errors on your resume.
Yes.
And but if you don't position yourself to be able to go back to someone, even if you did not get hired, that could be a great learning experience.
Yes, and you know what? And everything you're saying, you seriously just dropped some major nuggets just there, just right
Thank
there.
you.
But for everybody listening again and watching, this is why you need to work with an expert like Dee. And I've been saying this all week long. You guys need to start adding people like Dee to your budget. Like it just goes in the budget, just like you make time to go eat out 3 or 4 times, even in a pandemic and all this
Right,
other stuff. You need to
right,
add on there career coaching because
right.
we're talking about your life. We're talking about your
Exactly,
livelihood here. I mean, it's
exactly,
that important.
exactly. And we can go from, being the consumer to the producer just by that mindset shift. Okay,
Yeah.
so instead of that $10 meal, then doing that 3 or 4 times a day, I mean a week. You,
Mm-hmm.
if you just cut back on a couple of them per week, a couple
Mm-hmm.
of them per week, you can do a one-time service. Like for example, I offer resume audit. You may have a resume and you may want to do it yourself. You may not feel like at that time you can invest in the complete process of having the resume done for you, but you can have an audit. An audit is where I will go in, take this email, basically pick it apart, give you all the notes on the areas that need to be corrected, things that need to be changed from the font
Mm-hmm.
to the wording, then give it back to you. It's kind of like grading a paper. So it's
Yeah.
just like grading a paper. You get the paper, the teacher grades it, and then they give it back to you and say, hey, these are the things that you need to correct. Then it
Mm-hmm.
becomes a do-it-yourself service, meaning so you take that and then you utilize it how you see fit. If
Yes.
that's what the audit does, or you can or I can completely build it out for you, and then you have access to it. So once you get it, it's going to come to you in a PDF format and a Word format, which means that you can go in and make adjustments. It's not like I would be the only person that ever do that. No, it's for you. Once you invest into that, then you have access to it to go in and change it. I love to see my clients through the process. Just we build relationships. Once the
Mm-hmm.
service has been completed, you still have access to me. If you have a quick question, you want to shoot me an email, I'm still available because career coaching is a process. It's not a one and done thing.
Yes.
It's really not. But if at that time you have like, okay, well, I can do this service, you just have to figure out what is worth investing. Is your future worth it? Are you going to look down the line 3 months from today and say, man, if you start looking at how much money you spent on all of those meals and all those burgers, you could have, prepared yourself for the next level for the rest of your life. But all you have to show for it is $200-$300 in fast food.
Yes.
And that's it. But yeah, the people need to see the importance of it. And I would love for people to trust me, because I always tell people I am your career coach. I work with you and for you, for you to elevate. It's not about me, it's about you. With that being said, like I said, if it's not me, I don't believe in just tell everybody, oh, well, come to me. No, I'm not doing that. But if it's not me, get someone. Understand the value in career coaching. I'd love for it to be me. I'd love for it to be. But, if not, just see the value in it and find, because while Google gets us to a lot of places, Google makes us look very generic if you're using all these free services, free resume services. Honey, you look real generic when you present a Google, resume. So let me just tell people that much. That's a free nugget. Yes, people, we know when you Googled your way through, this interview or this process, we completely know.
It's obvious, right?
Yes, clearly it is obvious, because when you can take 3 different resumes and sit them on top of each other, hold them up to the light, and they all line up and look the same. It's like, okay, did y'all just sit together and do these?
Work on it.
Was it a group project?
Right. What were y'all doing? But I love that. And guys, again, I'm pushing. And the reason why I'm pushing Dee, because I know her. If I knew somebody else, I would push them. But I push who I trust. Okay.
Right.
But I kind of want to get into now. So let's say, somebody's listening and maybe they did unfortunately get that pink slip, or, saying, hey, we're going to have to remove this position, or we're downsizing, or whatever the magic words they use. And I'm sure that maybe they're feeling anxious right now, maybe devastated. What do they do to pick themselves back up and pivot?
The biggest thing is the mindset shift. One of the things that I often say, as my shirt says, elevated mindset. You have, if you change your mindset, you change your life. That's where it starts. That's where the pick me up starts. It starts in the mind, because you can try to go through, the motions, but this is not that time. You got to prepare your mind first, and, hunker down or anchor down, whatever you want to call it, and just say, hey, as they do with cars and car systems, push, pull, or drag, I've got to get through this. I've got to push myself, pull myself, drag myself. Why? Because my next level and my results are waiting on me. I cannot die in this season, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I can't stay here. There's nothing left for me here. Where I'm supposed to be is at the next level. So for the people that are, that are struggling in this season, it starts in the mind. Like, as a career coach, I can't help you until you open up your mind to the idea that you need help. So it's like me just standing there knocking at the door. I'm just knocking at the door, and you won't let me in. You need help, but you don't open the door to receive it. So for the people that are out there, again, in the workforce, and they're feeling, just dismayed and struggling, it's a real thing. So let me say this first. I acknowledge that it is a real thing. Everybody's season, has not been the worst. Everybody has not been the best. And then there's been some people that have been dealt some devastating hands in this time. Some people that have lost all of their income, not a part of it, but all of it. Everything. However, at the end of that rope, you got to find a way to tie a knot and hang on, and that could be finding, reaching out to try to get into maybe another skill. Find something that you like, that you've been good at, or that you are good at, want to explore. Try to tap into opportunities for that, to see if maybe changing, maybe this is the time to shift into something different. So I just want to encourage them to just open up their mindset first and just say, okay, just shut out all the things, processes, and even people that are not serving you. So when I say serve, I mean serve on an elevated mindset level. They're not serving your purpose. They're not feeding your growth. They're not helping you to level up. If they're helping you to stay where you are, you need to distance yourself. So
Wow.
that would be my encouragement.
That is good. Again, major nuggets like you just dropped. I mean, that was that last part. If it includes people, and in this season, it is between my sanity and
Right,
fulfilling my purpose and
right,
keeping somebody on board.
right. My peace is
Gotta cut 'em
priceless.
off.
My peace is priceless. I can't. There's not a dollar amount that is worth my peace, because
Yes.
in the peace of mind. Now, that doesn't mean everything is going well, and not at all. Not at all. It does not mean things are going good or going well, in your life. What it means is I am determined to protect my mindset because
Yes.
my life depends upon it.
Yes.
That's what the peace means. It means
Mm-hmm.
that I don't care, push, pull, or drag. I've got to protect my mindset, because this older people, and my mother would often say, "Well, Lord, just keep me in my right mind." They
Mm-hmm.
always say, "Just keep me in my right mind." They don't ask for things. They don't ask for stuff. They
Yes.
just say, "Lord, keep me in my right mind."
My right
Because
mind.
as long as you are in your right mind, you are focused, you can make things happen,
Mm-hmm.
in your career, professionally, personally. And if you make yourself better personally, it will
Mm-hmm.
spill over professionally. And
Yes.
this is the beauty of it. Jacqueline Carr sings a song, "Everything Attached to You Wins."
Mm-hmm.
When you level up and you improve yourself, everything and everybody attached to you becomes better. Why? Because
Yes.
they benefit from you
Mm-hmm.
leveling up and being better for yourself. They benefit from that. So instead of saying, "Well, I'm failing everybody," okay, no,
That's
do
right.
yourself a favor and become better, and everything and everybody attached to you will be better for that.
I love that. And as we kind of get into this last question,
Okay.
what you're saying excites me so much. And again, for those that are watching and listening, and this is why I had to have Dee on here,
Yeah.
because it's not, if you notice, she didn't spend the last few minutes just talking about you need to put this on your resume and this on that. She started with mindset. So I love, Dee, that you covered the whole spectrum. Yes,
Right.
the resume is a part. Yes, the interview is a part.
Absolutely.
But if you're starting with a defeated mindset, the
Hmm.
rest of that is going to be a challenge for you to even do.
Absolutely.
So
Uh,
can you kind of get into now kind of the services that you offer, how you
mhm.
support your clients, and I'm sure mindset's a part of that for the coaching piece.
Definitely.
But yeah, go ahead and share.
Okay, well, my services, first of all, the website is ielevated.net, just the letter I, elevated with a D.net. And it lists all the service, but for just an example of the things I provide would be the resume audit, a resume creation service, job prep, and I do that either individually or in group settings. So that's, for example, it could be created into one-on-one or a course process. Um, there's even GED prep. That's a little secret. A lot of people don't even know that I do that. So I provide your
Awesome.
GED coaching. If you are in the process and you are needing to get your GED, and make that priority. Sidebar, it is not an option. It is priority. I
Yes.
offer that service as well. Those are some of the main things that I offer, and they all are tailored to the specific needs of each client. Because
Good.
that's what guarantees their success is my ability to tailor my services to meet their needs. And if there's something, and the thing about it is, for some of the things, if you go for the career package, Then with the career package, you're going to get several things. You're going to get that one-on-one coaching. You're going to get a full resume out of that. You're going to get job interview prep. You're going to get we're going to do a SMART analysis, a SMART goal analysis. We're definitely going to, yes, definitely. We're going to do all of that. So it is literally like, a career training boot camp, but it is a personalized experience. I will say this, several of my clients they left the process feeling, they said, they underestimated what they thought the career coaching process would be. I will tell them ahead of time, go ahead, get you a couple of good pens, give you a couple of good notebooks, because there's going to be a lot of writing, a highlighter, and even a box of tissues. Why? Because we're going to unpack this process so we can open up the gates to your next level. So that is what I offer my clients. So not just the professional process, we make it personal. Definitely, we make it personal. And as far as what my company offers, people now, my clients now, that's the biggest thing. It's just the follow-up. When you have taken the opportunity to invest into yourself and invest into a service, I level up myself in adding on that bonus of the follow-up, of coming back to you, because it's not a one and done. When I say I want to see you through that process, I want to see you through that process. Maybe you have received the services that you invested in, but we're not done. I'm going to come back and say, hey, how's that going? Do we need, to jump on here for a quick call, a quick conference? What's going on? Tell me what's going on. So because I want to be involved in that, so I think a lot of people fear that, oh, I just paid for their service and, there's just a one and done, they fall off. Absolutely not. I don't fall off. My stick with you game is real strong.
I love it. I love that. And again, what stands out to me, and again for those watching and listening, I know you heard Dee say it herself, is that it's personalized, because we know every client is different. But the bonus that I love, Dee, that you bring to the table is also that you're a businesswoman. So when it comes to leveraging skills, this is what you do in your business anyway. So you can bring that wealth of knowledge, to your clients.
Exactly. And I believe in something that is called stackable credentials. If anybody want to get a pen, write that down. Understand what that is. Stackable credentials. That means that this is, when you unpack that word, these are things that you can stack. These are skills that you can stack together to make yourself more marketable. So that is where, again, where a career coach comes in. Like, what do you have already that you can stack and mold and present yourself to be, more of a better candidate? Because a lot of times people, we use that phrase, leaving money on the table. Yes, you are cashing out, leaving money on the table when you don't understand how to stack what you already have. It's not always about going out. The going out to improve upon your skills is the second step. The first step is understanding what you already have. What you already have on the table that you're not presenting and packaging well. Again, that's where a coach comes in, and that's why I'm so honored to be on here with you, because one of the things that we've talked about in our conversations was just like with college students, and then with them in scholarships, and then trying to secure the funding for school. But okay, we got the funding, we're in school, and we're doing good. Now it's time to get out here in the workforce.
That's right.
What does it mean, when you've done wonderful because you've gotten through school, but now do you know how to present yourself out here in the world for the education that you've acquired? Do you know how to market that? So that's where I think the fusion of the service that you offer and the service that I offer, that's where that fusion comes along. And it's a wonderful marriage, because it's all inclusive. That's why when you asked me in the beginning about the importance of students visiting their career prep, this is why, because they would meet you on the funding side. But okay, we've gotten you. Yes, you have to get your coins together. Miss Ashley got your coins together. Now let's go see how we can prepare for you to get more coins, because now We need to get you out here in the world so that way you can get more coins. So
Yeah.
that's where that beautiful fusion comes together.
It does, and I love it, and you're right. That's why I had to have you come on. And you know what? It points right back to a point you made earlier about the mindset. Because see, when you sit down with someone, you can see those stackable skills. You can see the potential of how
Mm-hmm.
they can leverage it. But when
Right.
you don't, if you're not an experienced career coach, you don't know that stuff about yourself. A lot of times we can see other people, but we can't see ourselves.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
that is the perfect definition of it. Pretty much, a lot of times I'm pretty much putting a mirror in front of you and let's say, okay, listen, this is what I see. Now I need you to see, and so moving forward, you see yourself in this light because so
Mm,
many people in this day and time amongst the pandemic, they're so defeated. They're feeling
yeah.
so defeated. And then if they've gone through, training or have certificates or degrees, and they appear or feel useless because they don't know how to really package it or leverage it. And let me tell you this: if you are um, trying to get certain state jobs, let's say for example, there are certain jobs that require a bachelor's degree.
Yes.
Now, um, with with them requiring this is what kind of blows my mind. You can have a bachelor's degree in some state jobs. It does not matter what it is in.
Mm-hmm.
All they want is a bachelor's degree.
Well, your degree.
It does not matter what
Mm-hmm.
your field is. Your field could have been aeronautics, it could have been physics, it could have been botany, it could have been anything. It doesn't matter what your field is or was. They just want a 4-year degree. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't know that. So that right there is leaving money on the table because you
Yes.
are what you're doing is you're narrowing your job search. you know
Yes.
and if you expand that, but you don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
expand it, which is where I come in. Let me show you, these are the things. This is where, so when we say leave money on the table, it's a real thing.
It's serious.
So that's what they're doing. They're leaving money on the table because they're not expanding that job search. But just knowing that if you have a 2-year degree, there are still opportunities out there where they're not asking for the specifics. They just want the documentation that you have that degree.
Absolutely. And I want
Mhm.
to just make this appeal too. Again, for those that are watching and listening, even if you've done a 4-year degree, and let's say you're like, okay, Dee, I'm going on to do a master's. There
Mhm.
are there you still need to be prepared, even if you have 2 degrees, because 2 degrees doesn't guarantee employment after you graduate, right, Dee?
You better tell them. You better tell them. I mean,
So
just
it
to
doesn't
keep right,
matter.
right. It does not. You can you can stack your degrees
PhD,
and
okay?
right. You can stack your degrees and still be unemployed. You know,
Okay.
let's talk about that part. It does. So if you don't know how to stack them and utilize them to your benefit, um, there are other opportunities. And just to say, there are some teachers. If
Mm,
if a teacher has gone to school to be a math teacher, but they don't want to teach in the classroom anymore, they can take that degree and utilize it elsewhere. It does not have to be in that. If you have, they may be able to get into the workforce and do some coaching and training in a completely different industry. Why? Because
yeah.
they are a teacher. They have the experience and knowledge to teach. So it doesn't mean they have to be in a classroom. Why do you think so many people are, when they change the fields and you find out, oh, okay, so you were a teacher? Yes. They
Mm,
don't, so because they've learned how to expand or
yeah.
widen that job search and that opportunity, um, it's there. It's there. Maximize on what you have already and
Yes.
then tap into how you can improve that. That's the biggest thing that I could just pretty much, offer. And so again, like I said, if someone's out there and they say, well, you know what, I want to know more, please,
Mm-hmm.
I encourage you, I ask you, please connect with me.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you can go to the website, it's ielevated.net, and then connect with me and say, hey, you know what, I want to know more. Then
Mm-hmm.
we can personalize this. We can definitely jump on a consultation call to figure out what are your needs, what are your desires, what do you already have going for you, and do these things line, and does your mindset line up with where you are and where you're
Yeah.
trying to go? Because sometimes, just like you go to a hairdresser or a barber, you may say, well, I want this particular style. And they say, well, not yet. Your hair is not there for that. Let's give it a little time and, grow it a little bit more, or we can do this and we can train it to get to that style. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing.
Same thing.
I will definitely tell you one thing. I will promise you. Okay. I promise you and guarantee you this. I will be 100% honest, 100% transparent. Um, Definitely, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I am that coach that will love you through the process, but you will get the
Mm-hmm.
business. I will definitely tell you.
Yes, we need it.
So yeah, we do. I think that's one thing I feel like, again, where our fusion comes along in, is just knowing, because we're so passionate about what we do.
Yes.
We're so, and it's like, God, when we get people, when they see themselves the way that you see them, and then they see the access to the opportunities that they have, it's like,
Right.
it, yes, yes.
Yes, and so also, guys, too. I know that Dee said her website, but of course, in the show notes, I'm gonna have all of her her website, how you can follow her. I know she's on Facebook as well, so you'll have no excuse why you
Right.
can't add these services to your Black Friday shopping or even today shopping. Okay.
Exactly. And so if Black Friday, there are going to be some extra nuggets. If you stay connected, you can find me on Facebook and on IG at Elevated Career Services.
That's
So,
right. Yes.
it's uniform. So you don't have to go to Facebook and it's one thing and Instagram is something else. No, it's Elevated Career Services. You can find me, and definitely stay connected. The reason why you want to stay connected is because even before Black Friday, I'm going to be dropping some downloads. Okay. And so some downloads, and they will be, kind of like lightning deals, like Amazon does those lightning deals. Once they
Mhm.
are going to be free downloads, and catch it while it's free. And so I'm excited about that, because I just want to share the things that people are missing. Everything is not about, just keeping it all to ourselves. Like the information has to get out there.
Yeah.
So definitely stay connected. Like I said, catch me on Facebook, please. Um, follow me on both platforms, IG and Facebook. And just, if you have a quick question, shoot me
Mm-hmm.
an inbox. Say, hey, do you mind answering this quick question? If it's something I can answer quickly, I will. I'm not that person that says, oh, well, you have to pay me for my 2 minutes. I'm not. Now, if it's something that we need to connect on a different level with, then I'll encourage that. But
Yes.
just, I think a lot of people, they fall off because they don't really know where to go. They don't have someone that, they don't even think that that's something they could do. They may see you presenting a lot of information and have a question, but don't even ask. Their question may only take you 10 seconds to answer, but they've been toiling with it for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I
yeah.
love it. And Dee, that also speaks to, and I can say this, guys, just knowing her personally, how Dee is right now, so down to earth and herself. This is how she is all the time. She's consistent. I know we got flip flop people. Dee is not one of those people.
Thank
And that's why I love her. And
you.
I know you guys will too, because you need somebody, like she said, is going to be honest, but they're an
Mm-hmm.
expert too. She knows what she's talking about, and the results speak for themselves.
They do.
So Dee, thank you so much. It's just been an amazing interview.
Thank you. I am honored. I appreciate and the invite. I am humbled by that. Um, yeah, it's been great. Definitely.
And we're going to do this again. So
Definitely. I think we'll have to flip flop. I think I'm going to have to find a way to fuse, for other people to see this fusion that we have going.
absolutely,
Definitely.
and yes, it'll be everywhere. So
Right.
everywhere you guys see Dee, you'll see this interview too.
Yes. So thank you again. I appreciate you, and I just want to encourage you as well to continue the great work that you're doing because it's needed. You are a valuable resource to, to people that are in search of funding and the opportunities to go back for higher education. Funding is not just for high school students; it's out there. So I thank you.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.